Ontario skies darkened early in the morning. Dark clouds hung heavy over major cities like Toronto, Hamilton, and London. Around 2 p.m. local time, a supercell storm system began forming over Lake Ontario, triggering an unprecedented series of extreme weather events. Large hail, high winds, and thunderstorms that paralyzed residents. Environment Canada reported that the storm was triggered by the meeting of a warm air mass from the south and a cold air mass from the north, creating extreme atmospheric instability. Weather radar showed intense convective activity, with cloud tops reaching 13 kilometers and indications of rotation leading to the formation of supercell thunderstorms. We saw a very active, rotating cloud structure. This is no ordinary storm, said Dr. Emily Fraser, a meteorologist at the University of Toronto. Hail began falling in the Mississauga and Brampton areas around 2:30 p.m. Ice balls measuring 4 to 7 centimeters in diameter struck the ground at high speeds. In some areas, golf ball-sized hail shattered car windows, damaged roofs, and uprooted trees. I was driving on Highway 401 when suddenly my windshield shattered. It felt like I had been shot, said Carlos Mendez, a Toronto resident who suffered minor injuries. Major roads like the Gardiner Expressway and the Don Valley Parkway were completely paralyzed. Heavy traffic jams resulted as many vehicles were damaged or forced to stop. Public transportation was also disrupted. GO transit train service was temporarily suspended due to icy tracks and fallen trees.
Oh my God.
Pearson International Airport delayed more than 50 flights, and several planes sustained minor damage from hail while parked on the apron.
Off it or something. I gotta go.
Toronto General Hospital admitted more than 60 patients in 3 hours, most of whom suffered injuries from broken glass and impacts from hard objects. An elderly person in Scarborough reportedly suffered a broken bone after being struck by a falling tree branch. We were overwhelmed, but the medical team was working non-stop, said Dr. Rajiv Patel, head of the emergency department. Farmers in Niagara and Simcoe counties reported extensive damage to grape and apple fields. Harvested crops were destroyed in minutes. The Ontario Farmers Association estimated losses at 85 million Canadian dollars, not including damage to property and vehicles. We just reseeded our fields. Now it's all destroyed, lamented Margaret O'Donnell, a farmer from St. Catharines. The Ontario provincial government declared a regional state of emergency in 7 major cities. Premier Michael Thompson held a press conference that evening, stating that emergency response teams had been deployed and 25 million Canadian dollars was being allocated for initial recovery. We will recover together. Ontario is strong and resilient, Thompson asserted. Forecasters attributed the storm to anomalous sea surface temperatures in the North Atlantic, which amplified atmospheric dynamics over eastern Canada. Activity from the Madden-Julian Oscillation, MJO, and Rossby waves also exacerbated the situation. Environment Canada warned that further storms were possible in the coming days, particularly in eastern Ontario and Quebec. Amid the devastation, the spirit of Ontario residents remained strong. Churches, schools, and community centers were opened as shelters. Volunteers from various organizations stepped in to help clear debris and distribute food and blankets. We help each other. This isn't just about the storm, it's about how we rise together, said Fatima Noor, a volunteer with Toronto's Muslim community. Meanwhile, Alberta's once clear skies turned gray by mid-afternoon. Around 4:30 p.m. local time, a giant cumulonimbus cloud began rolling in from the southwest, bringing with it an unusual threat: large hail that simultaneously struck Calgary and Edmonton. In less than an hour, the province transformed into a terrifying hailstorm. According to a report by Environment Canada, a low-pressure system forming over the Rocky Mountains triggered the formation of supercell thunderstorm clouds. Warm surface temperatures combined with cold air in the upper atmosphere created ideal conditions for hail formation. Weather radar showed extreme convective activity, with cloud tops reaching over 12 kilometers. Hailballs ranging in diameter from 3 to 6 centimeters struck the ground at high speeds. In areas such as Airdrie and Okotoks, residents reported tennis ball-sized hailstones destroying roofs, shattering car windows, and damaging crops. The sound of the hail hitting the ground sounded like repeated explosions, creating panic among residents. I was preparing dinner when suddenly the kitchen window shattered. Ice came flying into the house like bullets, said Linda McAllister, a Calgary resident whose home was severely damaged. Major highways like Highway 2 and the Trans-Canada Highway were completely gridlocked. Many vehicles were forced to stop on the shoulder because their windshields were cracked or shattered. Traffic police and firefighters were deployed to help evacuate people stranded in their cars. At Calgary International Airport, more than 30 flights were delayed due to aircraft damage and icy runways. Emergency services received more than 500 calls in the first 2 hours of the storm. Foothills Hospital reported at least 42 people suffered minor to moderate injuries, mostly from broken glass and impacts from hard objects. An 8-year-old child in Red Deer suffered a head injury after being hit by ice while playing in his yard. Medical teams moved quickly to treat the victim, while ambulances ran non-stop amid the slippery conditions. Farmers in Alberta suffered significant losses. Harvested wheat and canola fields were destroyed in a matter of minutes. The Alberta Farmers Association estimated losses at 75 million Canadian dollars, not including damage to property and personal vehicles. We just sprayed our crops yesterday. Today, everything is flattened, lamented George Tremblay, a farmer in the Lethbridge area. The Alberta provincial government immediately declared a state of emergency in 5 major cities. Premier Rachel Notley held a press conference that evening, stating that disaster response teams had been deployed and 20 million Canadian dollars in relief funds were being allocated for initial recovery. We will ensure that everyone affected gets help. This is one of the worst hailstorms in Alberta's history, Notley stated. Meteorologists from the University of Alberta attributed the phenomenon to anomalous sea surface temperatures in the eastern Pacific, which amplified atmospheric dynamics over Western Canada.
I want video proof that it rained in
Rossby
Norwood.
waves and Madden-Julian oscillation, MJO, activity also played a role in the storm's formation. Environment Canada warned that similar weather systems were still possible in the coming days, particularly across northern Alberta and Saskatchewan. Volunteers from various organizations stepped in to help clear the debris and distribute food. We may be physically devastated, but our spirits remain intact, said Muhammad Khan, a volunteer from the Edmonton Islamic Center. The hailstorm that struck Alberta on July 25, 2025, was not just an extreme weather phenomenon. It was a test of the resilience of communities and emergency response systems. Despite widespread damage, the spirit of community cooperation and the government's swift response provided a beacon of hope amidst the storm.